Let's go through the pick and show function from the textbook and from class. The only difference between this function and the one in the textbook is I use the explore command, not the show command, because I generally like to use that more. So let's go. Suppose we send a pick and show command. We want to run this function. Well, of course, whenever we run a function, we make a new piece of scrap paper and put the name of the scrap paper up at the top. This happens to be a very big piece of scrap paper because I happen to know, because I've peeked ahead, that I'm going to need a big piece here. But, you know, it's just a regular piece of scrap paper. So we look at the pick and show function, no arguments, so we don't need to start any boxes, so we start to run it. And if you look at the function, the first line of code says my file gets pick a file. Function inside of a function. Okay, well, we can cope. We got to evaluate the right-hand side, do the left, so we got to run the pick a file function. So what happens when we run the pick a file function? Well, we make a new piece of scrap paper. Again, I just happen to know it's not going to need much room, so I made it smaller. But you could make all your scrap paper the same size if you had a big screen. We write the name of the function on there, and we look in the arguments, no arguments to pick a file, so we're going to run it. And I don't actually know what the details are inside pick a file. Pick a file is a function that Jess gives us. But what I do know is when I run pick a file, it pops up a window like this that lets you click through and pick a file that you want to use. In this case, I want to use JPEG, which is in my, or flower.jpg, which is in my data, my D drive. So I click on that. And again, I don't know the inner workings, the secret, what's going on and what boxes are in here, but what I do know is that whatever I pick a file is going to return it as a string. So here's my file as a string with apparently big close quotes. Don't know how they got there. And let's look at the code again. It said my file gets pick a file, and I was inside of pick and show, right? So where do I put this thing that's getting returned? Into my file. Do I have a my file box yet? Nope, so I got to make one. Oops. Oh yeah, sorry. That gets crossed out, right? This gets crossed out after this is returned. Then I make my box. In it goes. And now this disappears. Sorry about that. Okay, so now what happens? We're ready to run our next line of code. My picked gets make picture my file. Okay, evaluate the right-hand side, put it in the left. I guess we're running another function called make picture. So we make a new piece of scrap paper and we write make picture up at the top. Now check this out. Make picture takes an argument. It takes my file, which happens to be in pick and show, right? Because that's where we were when we called the make picture function. So we're going to put that in here. We know it's a string. We don't actually know what make picture calls it, right? Because we don't see the def of make picture. But we know that it takes a string and that it has this. We just don't know what the name of that variable happens to be, what the formal name of the parameter is, right? Inside of make picture. But we don't care. And again, I don't know exactly what happens inside the make picture function. I don't know how many boxes it makes. I don't know anything. But what I do know is when it's done, it returns a picture to us. Right? So it's returned the picture. Make picture is done. Goodbye, make picture. And we look here and we say, can we grab that? Yeah, absolutely. My picked gets make picture my file. We were in pick and show, so we go in here and say, do we have a box called my pick? Nope. So we make a new box, and this is a special box, right? Because it holds a picture. So in there goes the picture from here, and then goodbye, that's gone because the return value only stays for a minute. And then the last line of code says explore my picked. Well, it's got to be a function again, right? Because it's got these parentheses. So we run the explore function. We put the name on the paper. Explore has one argument, which is the picture. Again, we don't know what it's going to be called inside of explore, what explore chooses to call it, but we don't care. We passed in this variable somehow. And what I happen to know is that when you run the explore function, it pops up a copy of your picture on the screen. And then it leaves it there even after Explorer's all done. So Explorer's done, we cross it out. And now check it out, our pick and show is done. So we're going to cross that out too. And we're done running that function, and we happen to be left with, because of the way Explore works, this picture popped up on the screen. So Pick and Show actually lets us pick a picture and end up with that popped up on our screen.